Guys all in your same spots. That's even better. I mean, we had a seating chart. I like it. Okay, it's good to see we're following the seating chart. That's good. All right, I feel better. I feel like it's Groundhog's Day, right? And it just kind of keeps rolling. You guys ready to roll? You guys ready back there? Good, good? Well, guys, good to see everybody. Excited about getting started, as I know you guys are too, with spring ball, like you haven't had anything to do, right? And but should be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about how our guys have attacked this off season, and I guess more so just kind of now an understanding on the expectation and how to go about their business. I've been really happy with that, and probably more so just seeing in yesterday's conditioning, being back from a week of spring break, and just seeing the guys. I think we had a lot of guys that actually worked themselves wherever they were at, over spring, because they ran really well yesterday. So that bodes well going into spring practice. As you know, we're going to start on Wednesday, tomorrow, and we'll have a couple practices with inviting just high school coaches to come out and watch on Friday's practice. So there should be a pretty good crew of people out there, and we'll finish that up with a little question and answer and chalk sessions with our coaches in the indoor after that. So that'll be on Friday. And we'll get our two practices with underwear on, done with the 9th and the 11th, and then start back at it the following week. So obviously one thing that's a little bit different for us this year is kind of the energy that's created when you infuse 12 new bodies into spring. Sometimes you maybe get a couple here and there or whatever, but this is actually a very large amount. And the thing that's been kind of cool is you can feel their energy and excitement, which is kind of contagious with the rest of the guys. And it'll be interesting to see those guys' eyes kind of wide open when we start the pace in which we go. This will be an interesting experience for those guys. And yet I'm excited about the veterans that have kind of educated these guys a little bit on how we go about practice and what we do. So that should be pretty fun. Guys, we'll be without as we're kind of getting to the Thomas. You ready? Okay. We're going to get there here. So get your pen out. All right. Fingers. Limber your fingers up. Okay. But, guys, we're, without a couple of guys who haven't been with our team since January, and Treon and Antonio. They're, still doing some schoolwork and that kind of stuff, but they haven't been with us since January. And they won't be, with us as we're rolling, so you won't see those guys out there at practice. And guys, that'll be the last we talk about that. And now we'll get to those guys on the injury front. Thomas, you ready? Okay. Okay, you ready? Sure? Okay, we're focused. All right. So coming off of season, whatever, surgeries or whatever, Brandon Powell, Martez Ivy will not go at all, in practice. We've got a couple kickers that are in the same boat that won't be out there kicking, but we do have one guy that's here, so that'll be good. We'll be able to do that. Alex Anzalone, the duct tape held and was really strong, actually. So he got cleared. They're still being non-contact, but we got great news on the power of duct tape. And Quincy Wilson and Joey Ivy with those hernia deals will be limited, but should be going. They've been running pretty good. In fact, Quincy, I was really impressed with how he ran yesterday, so I don't see any lingering effects there moving forward. So that, I think you kind of say that. We've had some flus and some sickness and that kind of stuff as I cough. But, normally I'm kind of excited where they're at. They look like they're in pretty good shape. We'll find out as you guys have been doing this a long time yourselves. You know the difference from thinking you're in shape and then when you're actually out there doing drills and going through it. The good thing is we're in Florida where we can, get a lot of practices in, and it should be a lot of fun. So with that, I'll take some questions.
Are those two guys suspended? What is?
They just haven't been with the team, and that'll be the last we talk about it.
You can't tell us why they haven't been with the
That'll
team?
be the last we talk about it. Thanks, so appreciate it. I would have guessed you'd have been the one jumping on that one, but I like it. I like the effort.
Okay, so-
For the effort, it's outstanding.
Okay,
But
so let's-
you know what? I am excited about all these guys that are going to be here as we kind of move forward to spring practice, and that'll be what we'll talk about.
Okay, we'll get to them.
And that's what we'll talk
How
about.
if Harris
So-
comes back, will he be a quarterback, or was there a plan to change positions with him?
Possibly.
Possibly.
We'll see that when we talk. When we'll talk about it when it happens. That was good though, Mark. I love it. And by the way, let me just try to throw that ball in there. That was good. So, all right. Served it up though, man. It was awesome. Straight down the pipe. No, that's good. No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
With the duct tape with Alex, is there maybe a benefit of he's a veteran guy, knows kind of the system, to have him sit aside, not re-aggravate anything, and then get somebody like David Reese reps?
Well, you know how that's obviously, David's going to get a ton of reps, as you know, and how we practice as well. But, we were in that situation a year ago with Antonio and Jared that didn't practice really at all. So at least our numbers now are much better. Him being able to do a lot of the non-contact drills and a lot of the things that way is really going to benefit a guy like David, because you're going to be able to have a second coach in his ear as he's going through. So I know Alex, he had a real bounce in his step when he came back with the news, and in fact texted me on my birthday to let me know that, just you could tell the excitement, that was there, that, man, this is finally over, and that duct tape was solid. Yeah.
Okay, so quarterbacks who are here.
Yeah.
Do you think that Del Rio goes in with a leg up? Because of
Yeah,
what he
I
did
think,
late last year?
he's been here, obviously he's been, learning. He and Austin have done an outstanding job together with those two young guys in Felipe and Kyle. I'm excited to see routes on air. Obviously, we haven't been able to do that. You can't have a ball out there, you can just watch them condition. But you guys will be there for that period, I think. Should be, yeah, part of the open periods. So I'll be excited. Past fastball, it'll be routes on air, which actually I changed a year ago to where you guys couldn't see it, because I didn't want you guys to get embarrassed for us. So I'm just looking, for routes on air right now. It should be a lot of fun. See those guys sling it.
How different is it having numbers there and
Yeah.
actual real competition?
Well, I think numbers, and, that was the thing that hurt us last year, not only at that position, really not having numbers, but obviously in the O-line, when you think about what ended up happening was, 6 of them or whatever. And, this year, we're sitting there at 16 guys, bodies, which I think will help us, especially when we get into our 2 and 3 spot drills. And not only offensively, but helps the defense, because now you don't have guys standing around or being tired. I think that's a good thing on both sides.
Jesse, over to the left.
No McGee, obviously, and Robinson
Yeah.
moving on, and now no Callaway for the spring. So who are some guys that, you're kind of looking forward to kind of make that progression this spring, catching the football?
Well, as you talk about from the tight end spot, I think the good thing is I think Morrill Stevens is a guy that's really elevated through, his off season, and now there's a real, opportunity to jump in there now, with Ciante and Ghouls. And, Cameron Knight, who took reps for us last year, and when you see the guy kind of run out there, you might go, geez, who's that guy? Well, it's because he's grown up a little bit. He's had a great off season. So I think that position. And then when you look at, we need a mod to step up. We need some other guys at the wideout spot, obviously, with the 3 young guys, that are new. You look at a guy like Bailey needs to, take some leadership role there and say it's time to go. So it should be a lot of fun with you see those guys out there running around and competing. Chris Thompson's got to be one of those guys as well as we kind of go.
So no chance those 2 guys return for spring?
That'll be the last we've talked about it. So next question.
Well, but they won't be here for spring.
I don't know.
Okay.
I said that's the last we're talking about it, Edgar.
Okay, no, I got you.
And-
I was just trying to get
And
some
I appreciate your.
Well, no, I'm
I
not.
know, I
I'm just
do.
trying to get some clarity
I
for
appreciate
we have
it.
to write
And
about this.
Did I give you clarity?
I mean,
I think I
somewhat, yeah.
pretty much cleared the air. We're not talking about it. So.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Okay.
So looking back, though, we got you right in the wake of the loss to Michigan, okay?
Yeah.
Reflecting, watching that game again, what just...
Makes you really excited to get going in spring ball and get that taste out of your mouth. A miserable taste that was embarrassing. It was embarrassing the way we played. It was embarrassing the way we took the field. It was embarrassing the way we laid down. And that's what's great about spring practice. It's like, here I guess it's a little different than like in Montana, but because things kind of bloom year-round here. But spring in Montana is when the flowers start to kind of, the tulips start to spread. You kind of get excited because but here it's like, every day I drive, so I know it's unbelievable. In fact, my wife and I were talking about that, shaking our heads. It's like, look at this. I got to get out there and mow the lawn, so.
The other, Jordan Scarlett, what do
Yeah.
you think he learned from what happened in December? And
Well, I think,
maybe not
there's a
having the
lot of
season
guys
anymore?
learn certain things, when something's taken away from you, and, he's had a great offseason, and I'm looking forward to Jordan and those guys competing at the running back spot, with, we got some bodies there now. Mark is a guy pushing the envelope there too, and here's a good thing. You see some guys competing every day now, knowing that, and I don't just have my spot, if that makes sense. And I think competition is something that's really good for every position.
Do you think that was a season where was ultimately frustrating? We forget the way it ended, but just maybe his role just wasn't what he maybe thought it was coming in?
I thought the guy did pretty good when he was there, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this spring.
Jim, obviously on the defensive side of the ball, you lose a starter at every single position. With the guys you got coming in the summer, it probably won't be counting on them to start on that side of the ball. How important is it for you guys to maybe come out of the spring with some established first teamers there?
No, I think that just establishing our identity, because obviously we've lost some really good players and guys that all should be drafted very high. And rightfully so, because they're really good football players. And so for us, it's a matter of some of the other positions around those spots stepping up and elevating their play as well. So, the establishing, I know you guys get really stuck on starters, okay, but they play a lot. They rotate a lot at a lot of different positions. So to me, it's the amount of reps a guy's ready to take come game time.
And then obviously you guys had a lot of production in the punt return game last season.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much with the kick returns. Is Dre Macy a guy that can
Dre.
really bring some electricity to that spot?
Yeah, and I look at, that's something, he's a guy that's going to be able to play multiple positions for us, one of those being a return guy, and I'm looking forward to seeing Dre catch it and go with it. He can, that guy looks like he runs fast. I don't know, I haven't timed him or anything, but he goes really fast when he's running out there. And, it's kind of neat to see guys, competing to see who's kind of the fastest. And, it's the amazing thing about fast guys. Fast guys aren't afraid to run fast. Some guys think they're fast and then kind of are afraid to show how fast they are because they kind of hold off a little bit. It's like the guy that runs, 4.2 or whatever, but won't run the 100 meters against guys. How fast are you, right? Fast guys run fast. I don't know how their time, but.
Jordan on the right, and then Mark. Jordan.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Jordan, how you doing, bud?
Doing well. How are you?
Good.
Are you
Did you change spots?
I don't believe so. I may have
I
moved
thought
one
you-
over.
Yeah, I thought you were one in, I thought. You're
I'm
at
in the
least.
same row,
yeah,
so
okay.
about the same.
You're in the back of the class. I got you.
I'll move my way up eventually.
All right, got you.
All right. Your coaching staff more or less the same. You only have one change. How
Yeah.
much is that continuity going to help you guys heading in the spring ball?
Yeah, continuity is something that, we had a lot of guys come after some of our guys, and I was really excited that, they chose to stay, because that means, what, they feel good about the direction we're headed. I'm excited to have them back, and here's the good part, it's like, okay, now there's a little routine, everybody knows what to expect, kind of the roles have been, laid out, and, I mean, it's just like going through winter conditioning. It wasn't like this total new, thing. It was like, okay, here we go. All right, bounce around, go to your drills, get it done. And the continuity piece, I go back to, teams that have sustainable success don't necessarily always have a lot of turnover. You're always going to have some, but not like major turnover. And I'm excited they're back. I know that.
And what are your overall thoughts on Tori and Gray, and what sort of piqued your interest in bringing him on?
Well, T's a guy that obviously brings a lot of credibility to the position. He's played it at a high level, coached it at a high level, coached some really good players, and developed really good players, and that's part of it too. And obviously him being from the state and being able to come home and get close to his family, I think that's something that we're all excited about. Not only have him here as a coach, but for his family to be able to be close to his folks.
Mark, when you look at your early enrollees,
Mm-hmm.
what do you look for when you're watching them before practice? And does anybody catch your eye just from a
no,
size?
I think that's a valid question, and I'm not really good at necessarily pulling a certain guy out, because you don't ever know till they get the pads on and you see how they retain information and those type of things. But as I look at kind of that whiteout group a little bit, and you brought up Dre earlier, and seeing that guy go with Freddie and Josh, seeing how those guys are kind of adapting, moving forward. It's fun to see those new guys and see how quick they want to pick it up. Here's the thing I will say about all of them, even the guys on the defense, is they're kind of thirsting for knowledge. They aren't sitting back. They're what I mean, and to me that shows a lot, and but it also should tell you something. They wanted to graduate early to get here, right? So should I be surprised? No, because they obviously put a lot into getting here early. So 12 guys, I'm going to need a roster. And we actually talked about putting tape on the helmets. And I said, just so we could know their names, who they are. But I've gone ahead and studied their jersey numbers, so I'll at least know who they are when they're out there.
Landon in the middle.
Just focusing on the topic of the secondary, just how do you kind of envision the new early enrollees, Chauncey Gardner, MacArthur Burnett, kind of fitting in there?
Well, as you know, we've got some really quality there, and really, I go back, man, they did a great job of getting players here. And those guys are well coached and do a heck of a job. The numbers are short. So, Chauncey and MacArthur are going to get tons of reps. And yet, here's a good thing. They're going to be able to be taught as well by some really good players, and Quincy and Jalen, taking the responsibility to help them learn the nuances of the position, and as well as kind of with the nickelback spot, as we kind of roll guys into that, Marcel, Duke, those guys, I mean, they're starters, and that's kind of exciting to see. And to see how Marcus May then helps, that communication piece, is something that I'm excited to see.
And just on the topic of defensive backs, I mean, obviously Kylan Johnson worked out with the linebackers near the
Yeah.
end of last year. Is he going to be with the linebackers or the secondary?
Yeah, he'll be down in with the linebackers. He's kind of grown into that, and I think you guys will see that when he's out there doing drills. Guy's growing up a little bit.
Jesse.
Kind of piggybacking on a continuity question from a little bit earlier. Just this time last year, you were really just getting to know these guys and seeing them out for the first time. Just how important or advantageous is it that you can really just hit the ground running from the start this time?
I don't think that I don't think you can really put it's hard to, because I do know this, man, there's so much more we can do now because some of the things have become routine. And that's good. I think, our off-season studies have been so good as far as some of the things we need to work on and knowing our deficiencies and coaches feeling comfortable, speaking about what they see. That's all part of the feeling out process. And now the continuity thing is huge.
Jesse, you pass it to Mark, please.
I'm not going to come with a high fastball on this one.
Okay, I got it.
There's been a lot of
Brush me off the plate.
a lot of talk about Harbaugh being in Florida. Obviously, Greg Sankey's weighed in. Everybody's weighed in. Do you have what's your confidence level that this thing can get switched in a year if indeed the NCAA is serious about doing it? Or do you think that's a lot of talk and posturing?
I kind of look at it as, more power to them. I mean, it's totally legal. I mean, he's not doing anything that's illegal. He's pressing the envelopes. He's putting their name in the paper every day, and that's cool. And I mean, I'd come to Florida too. I mean, there's great players here, right? That's and so there's a reason every school in the country comes here and recruits. So I think for them, it's trying to gain an edge and give them an opportunity to practice in great weather. And I don't plan on taking ours to Michigan, but that's a good thing. I'm all for what he's doing.
Would you take yours south, to Miami, to there?
It's interesting because this is something back when we were at Eastern Washington, we went to Pasco. All right. When we were at Montana State, we went to Miles City, Great Falls, Manhattan. I mean, these are some great, and you. No, Manhattan, Montana. Yeah, Manhattan, Montana. Which one of the greatest steakhouses of all time is there, by the way. You got to look it up. But anyway, side note, they raise their own beef right there, and I mean it goes right from there to your table, and the thing covers the steak over the plate. Friggin' awesome. No, it's a Sharesy deal, but yeah, family dinner on one plate. But so it's something that we've done places we've been, and I think it's great to be able to go take your program and just let your fan base, if nothing else. Here we're in a little bit different situation because people can come up and watch and, come to the Swamp, and it's a great place to have a game and see practice, and, spring game this year is on a Friday. So, if it's something that comes to, that's what it comes to. I mean, I know the administration would hate to probably see the budget that would cost, so I'm not asking them for it, all right?
Thomas?
You had told ESPN recently that there were some things with the off-the-field staff you still wanted to get done. What does the amount of guys that have gotten positions moving up from the staff from the last year say
It's pretty
about the
cool,
program?
isn't it? I mean, part of why you do that is to help guys grow in the profession, and to see them have an opportunity to go and get, jobs from those spots that's why we do this. And that's actually something that I learned kind of through Coach Saban. I mean, it's our responsibility as coaches to help guys get in the profession and be able to move on and keep, expanding your network. And for us, we look at it as an opportunity not to plug in the same guy into that spot, but now it gives you an opportunity to look at some areas and say, best available. I mean, these things don't, on the outside, they may look like great jobs. Okay, you're going to have to get a job as a bartender. You're going to have to get a job as a pizza delivery guy, multiple jobs to be able to piece together. It's not like we're paying a bunch of money for these jobs, but it's an opportunity. And, we'll keep adding to it, as we go and fill in needs for that given year, because as you know, this is an ever-evolving business we're in. So you try to plug pieces in to help you keep continually evolving. And I'm excited for our guys. I mean, I don't know if Valdosta State's going to rename themselves the Gators or what, I don't know, but I know I'm excited for those guys.
So that's something you really look at each year as what can these guys help?
And it's a chance to get better. Not that the guys were here are not good, but it's a chance to continually evolve. It's a chance to learn, it's a chance to get a new set of eyes. It's, and it's great. It's great for the coaching profession.
Bring him in the back to the left.
At this point last year, there was a lot of praise given to John Bullard for the sacrifice he made coming back. Do you see the same thing in Jared Davis?
And really
Marcus
helped
May?
himself.
Absolutely.
I think we're going to see that here shortly, and I'm excited for him, as I am all those guys. But those guys coming back, I think, says a lot. They want to finish their degrees. I think that's first and foremost, in both of their minds. That was something I think is real positive. And also helping our football team in realizing they have a chance to, enhance, and maybe they weren't. Yeah, would they have been? Sure, they had been drafted. I mean, let's face it, they're really top-ranked players, and but they got a chance to hone their skills and perfect their craft a little bit more that help them in the future, and obviously going to help the Gators.
Bob, over here to the right.
Hey, Coach, do you talked about Kylan Johnson switching positions. Any other players?
Good question. I think, don't hold me to it right now, is because guys, we've changed even since last season. They've been working out at their new spots, and some even during the season. But there isn't anybody like switching sides of the ball or anything like that.
Well, along those lines, is there a position group that is a depth issue that you consider right now?
Well, obviously depth, I say, our sheer numbers at DB is not, we don't have the numbers we'd like in that position. Linebackers, the same thing. We're better at numbers in the O-line, but we need to get better at that position, all right, for us to be successful. So I will say this, and I think you guys will take note too when we go out there and go through stretch. I think you'll see that we've got really good numbers to be able to practice.
Any final questions for Coach?
Guys, I appreciate it, and I'm hoping, we got one more? Yeah, go ahead.
How important is it just to get spring? You mentioned high school coaches coming, but to get recruits and prospects.
Yeah, well, I think, especially at some of the positions, they can go and count the heads. It's interesting, and you get the fast pass. So it's interesting, guys like, hey, they got all these guys on their roster, so you don't want to go there. And they go, well, yeah, but, maybe those guys, I'm better than them, right? And there's really only, and they can go, 3, 4, shoot, I fit pretty good here, even though the other schools are telling them something different. I always get a kick out of that. But I think them being able to just be here and exposed to the campus, our players, how we get along, coaches, it's invaluable. And, I'm not one of these big, have these big formal days, that you get these big hyped up, because really the piece of it is the personal part. So we open our doors, every day. So we'll have guys here, throughout spring based on their spring break or, whenever they can make it up. So look forward to it. So did you get these guys lunch?
Coming, 1 o'clock.
Okay, it's about time. What did you get?
Huh? Enough for 20.
But what?
Oh, pizza.
There we go. Everybody likes pizza. You get, okay, good. I'm glad he's treating you right, finally. All right. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you after practice, I guess.
Tomorrow, after practice tomorrow.
All right. Have a great one.
Thanks, Max.